when I say we've never felt so off, or at least I've never felt so off in my entire life, that's this. Like, it literally felt murderous, like in the spirit.
Hey, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Gabby. We both had our own story before our lives completely transformed.
Eventually, we started traveling and doing ministry.
We connected and got married.
Then we started a family.
Then came the shift, a call to live more simple and rooted.
Welcome to Caughversations. Hey everyone, welcome to Caughversations, episode 3. We've made it. And this one is going to be different because we're at the point where we're married and there's going to be some time jumps and we're going to touch on certain things for this next part of our season. So bear with us in this one. Just before we hop in, I want to say our goal is to upload every Monday, but it's been every other Monday. And so there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't see. I mean, even with our marriage, it's been tough because we're in a season right now where I'd say there's a lot of spiritual warfare and just things that are happening behind the scenes.
Which we'll jump into later.
Yeah.
In a later episode.
It's definitely a huge part of our journey right now. And there's going to be some big changes that you're going to see hopefully in the next
couple weeks.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into this episode, Gab. Where should we start? We're married now.
So we went over the wedding, and so right after... Okay, this is actually funny. So when we were having our wedding ceremony, we didn't even know where we were going to go, remember? We were like, where are we going to end up? Because, again, this was like a faith wedding. Like, we had no money saved up. You know, we had been on and off traveling to just various different places. And then we finally get married. At our ceremony, a couple came up to us, well, just the husband. And he's like, hey, like, they call them, like, the mother-in-law suites. I think that's what they're called. And he's like, you guys could stay there and, like, you know, what do you call it? Like, get on, there's, like, a phrase for it. But basically just, like, have a time of figuring out what we're going to do with ourselves and with our lives. And so he invited us. And that was actually our thought of, like, and our desire at the time. But we didn't tell him that. And so that was in PA. It wasn't in Erie, though. It was a little bit further from where Dylan's from, right? A couple hours from where you grew up.
Is it still far from here in New York?
It's not far from here. I think it was probably like 4 hours and then maybe like 2 hours from where he's from. So it was just kind of cool. So we ended up going there. And that
didn't happen first.
Yeah, that was the first place we went to.
No, we went to where your mom sent us.
Oh, well, yeah. We went on like a honeymoon for like 4 days. We went to one hotel and then the other hotel, but nothing significant happened.
But that's a big part, actually, because I was thinking about it. So when we first got married, I've never been to this area of New York. Like, obviously, I know all the areas now because we live here and we drive everywhere. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I didn't, when your mom booked that, like, hotel for us, I didn't realize how close it was to this area. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was, like, a far distance, but now I'm like, wow, it was only 20 minutes from her parents' house, and then it was like 15 minutes from here. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just didn't know any of that at the time.
I know. Yeah, anywho. So yeah, we did that for a couple days. We were at that suite, did some things, and then someone purchased another suite for us in a different part of New York, which we weren't familiar with, which was like an hour and a half from this vicinity that I grew up in. But I don't remember much that happened. We were just kind of like hanging out, getting food, spending time together, talking, you know.
This episode's going to be very hard. Did I say that in the beginning?
I don't think so.
This one's very vulnerable and has a lot of hard moments because I was thinking of this episode last night and it deals with some of the questions that I actually am bringing
Which I have no idea what
I'm going to use our friends as examples that are married now because I really was thinking about this episode last night. Like, what's something that I can talk about? What's something that we didn't recognize in the beginning? And so, like, I'm going to highlight one of the things that I feel like we made a mistake at in the beginning. I think when we were getting married, we were so, like, even after our wedding, we were so focused on direction and ministry rather than just like trying to enjoy everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's like we go to our honeymoon suites and then we go to PA, like I was mentioning before, with this couple that invited us there. And it's definitely true. It's like we were there for, I want to say like 2 to 3 months. And yeah, I think we were just like really, really like asking the Lord, like, what's our purpose? Like, what's our vision for this life? You know, like, we're a team. That was our mindset. Like, what are we going to do? And just we were very, very, very ministry minded, but we only saw ministry in one type of way at that point. At least I did. Like, I didn't understand family as a ministry or just just the different ways that the Lord can call you to serve in different seasons. Like, we were very like narrow minded. And so I think that's what Dylan means when he says that, like, we weren't even, I mean, we were happy, but
Yeah, and
it was just like,
I don't want to sound harsh because I'm thankful for the people that got us a hotel room. Like, I appreciate Gabby's mom getting us a room, and then her friends got us a really nice room somewhere else. And it's like, I'm thankful about that, but I feel like as we were at each place, we were just constantly like, where's the Lord sending us next? Rather than just enjoying it and having fun, because that's something I look back on and I feel like we lost that. Like, we didn't actually get to have fun. Because, like, even using your friends as an example, like, I know I talk about Exona and Jordan a lot because they're having fun right now, you know? Like, they're still, I feel like they're still in that honeymoon stage and they're just having fun. And
so what would you want things to have looked like? Like, what do you mean by having fun? For clarity.
No,
for
I just
watching.
think we were like hyper spiritual, constantly focused on like, where does God want us next? Where does God want us next? Which is good. Like, it's obviously good to want the Lord's will, but I just feel like we didn't enjoy each other as much, like, rather than we're constantly like, oh, like, even before we got married, it was like, how is God going to use us? Which, again, is good, but we didn't really, I don't know, especially now as parents, it's hard because we didn't, you know, the practicals and what God was leading became the high priority rather than just like...
Yeah, honestly, even too, like, another side, you're mentioning practicals. In the beginning, to like flip it too, like, we didn't understand practicals at all. We were like so like, I don't know what the word to use, but like, there's obviously a time where we were doing full-time ministry and like stepping out in faith and like it looked a certain way, but then there was a time where we kind of just expected everything to be handed to us and like didn't want to kind of like be responsible. But back to what Dylan was saying, I do see that of like, in the beginning, we never really had the time to like, I don't want to say build a relationship, but like, I guess really have that quality time in the beginning, especially before having like a child. Like, everything in our life was so fast paced of like, you're going to be here and then this place and this place and then this place. And just like a lot of like inconsistency in the very beginning. And so though we used to spend a lot of time together because Dylan didn't have like a 9 to 5 or anything like that, it's like you could be in the same place with one another, but that doesn't mean it's like quality time and like actually building a foundation together. And I think that's something that was kind of like rushed because we were in this like place in PA and it was good. I mean, the people that we stayed with were very kind. They're strong believers and everything. So it's nothing against them. It's the way we use that time. It was just kind of like we're in like, you know, we were in our what do you call it again? The mother-in-law suite, like a lot. And though there were bits and pieces where, you know, we would meet up with this one believer that we met somehow, and he was like affiliated with a church, and that was great, and that was like a good time of fellowship. It was really just kind of like a lot of empty time.
We didn't really soak in the love, basically. It was just, we thought we only had to do ministry, basically. It sounds bad because I'm not saying, oh, like, I don't want to do ministry. But I feel like, me especially, I fell into legalism, even in the relationship sense that we had. And I was like, we only had, like, we were constantly just sitting in this suite thinking, okay, Lord, what do you want us to do? When it could have just been so simple as, like, what can we do together for fun? I feel like we didn't have a lot of, like we would go on, like, little coffee dates and stuff, but we didn't really do the typical things that married couples do in the beginning. Just go out and have fun and like, and even now having a child, like I feel like that's been hard because, you know, we don't go on a lot of dates and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that was a tough thing in the beginning.
Well, I think we did though. Like we did go out to eat and things like that a lot. Yeah. But like we're saying, it was like, it just seems surface level. Because it's like you can spend time with one another, and we did. But it wasn't, like, there wasn't that, like, I don't know, like deeper connection, I want to say. Like, I feel like so much of what we learned in the beginning was, again, you can like spend time with somebody, but it's not really quality time. And it's not like really building that foundation together. It's just kind of like you're doing whatever. And it wasn't, I don't know. I feel like it's so hard to explain what we're trying to say.
I guess I was trying to highlight that ministry affected us in that way. And we didn't recognize it at the time as that. Because, like, again, I'm probably just repeating the same thing, but I feel like we were so ministry minded that even in our beginning stages of marriage, we were only thinking of like, literally, what does God want us to do at this very moment? And like, we wouldn't hear anything, but it could have just been so simple. Like, we're married. I feel like God's just like, go enjoy each other's time. Go have fun. Like, it doesn't have to be like, you have to go out on the street and go pray for people together. You don't have to go to a church. Like, just be a married couple in the beginning and have some fun together.
Yeah, even as we're talking about it, I feel like I'm like, something's like clicking in my head of like, okay, I think I know how to phrase this better too. It's like we were so focused on everything else that we weren't focused on each other, like purely. Like even, I mean, it's funny because it's like the honeymoon stage and like we were so excited to be married and like all of that. But like on a deep level, I feel like we were so focused on everything else that we weren't truly like building our marriage strongly. It's just kind of like we were together and we were so happy about it, but it was still like, yeah, we're like Dylan's saying, we're just like focused on other things, and so we didn't build that, you know. It's like, it's so, I'm sure people will understand that are married, but we're trying to like communicate.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like, it's hard to, maybe we're still even trying to process it.
And there could even be seasons of that. It could be, for some people that might have never happened to you, but maybe later on that's something people go through. I'm sure that's common for a lot of marriages.
Yeah, because it's like, how can you do ministry? Like, how, I feel like ministry is so much more powerful when there's like that unity. And maybe that's what we're trying to say. There wasn't like a full unity because we were just like focused on whatever instead of like really building that time with one another to love one another, because that's the type of ministry, is loving one another. And like we loved one another, but there's obviously different layers and levels to that.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah.
And we were coming out of like certain beliefs at the time. I remember even at the in Pennsylvania, we had this revelation like, oh my gosh, we've been so against the church that we've avoided it. And like we made this whole video saying like, hey guys, we repent of being so against the church.
Oh, I don't even remember that, to be honest.
We started going to churches and like trying to connect with people, and we had great ministry opportunities when we were in Pennsylvania. We connected with one guy from a church. We actually get to speak at a church and share a testimony.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So there was cool ministry moments, but that kind of became, as silly as it sounds, it like became an idol. Like, it became top priority over just, like I said, enjoying us. Like, literally, our honeymoon was literally ministry, which I don't even know if that sounds bad.
What do you mean? I don't remember that.
Like, it just the constant thoughts of, like, what do we do? Where's God want us? And, like, not enjoying each other.
I'll be honest, my memory is not the sharpest, so I think that's why it's kind of hard.
Well, I think
like,
it's
all I remember from our honeymoon is, like, being at our hotel and eating. That's literally all I remember.
Yeah, but I think it's because we're, realizing it now. Even some of the connections, like, as we get to certain parts, you'll see what I mean. Like, I'm kind of connecting the dots now because these are things we didn't really recognize at the time. So, like, another thing is, this is kind of like a time skip. But as we were in Pennsylvania, there's this whole deliverance conference that came up. And
oh, yeah, in Tennessee.
It was a huge deal because I felt like I was getting all this revelation on deliverance and, like, how it can sometimes be a deeper thing, not something that's just so simple, but, like, sometimes there's deeper rooted issues, and it takes time to find those deeper rooted issues. And so, long story short, we drove 10 hours to this deliverance conference. It was actually on New Year's
Eve, right? Yeah.
And so, is there anything you want to add before I go into it?
Yeah, I would say, like, about this or about anything else.
Yeah, because I'm gonna make a connection, and I want to see if you agree with.
Okay, I'm gonna add something really quickly then. to not make this all like negative, because there was really good things.
Yeah.
I'll add that something I think that the Lord was really working on us in too is, at least for me specifically, is, you know, being in PA. I feel like, and I talked about this a little bit in the last video, but I struggled a lot with fear, specifically in relationships. I think there was areas that I was like very unfearful in, but then like when it came to being with Dylan, I was like petrified of certain things. Just like the whole idea of being with somebody in every single way, even emotionally, even like talking, I think that was a huge barrier. But, you know, before our wedding and then after our wedding and in PA, you know, though there were things that weren't perfect and like maybe we didn't have that quality time we really needed in the beginning, I'm still thankful that the Lord really purged that out. Like, I feel like he really helped us to have conversations, and honestly we're probably better at that then than we are now, of like really like sharing our feelings, and just like being vulnerable, and, you know, him sharing certain things with me and me sharing certain struggles with him, and not being scared to do that, because I think, especially from my background, that was something that was brand new. Like, I had never experienced that before, really opening up to somebody, especially the person that you're with. And so that's a good highlight, I would say, is our communication in certain areas was really bad. I'm remembering that as I'm saying this, but then in other areas it was really good. Because I remember I was like the type that if I was struggling, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. It's kind of opposite now. But like in the beginning, it's like he would want to solve our problems. I'm like, no, I'm going. I'm getting out of here. I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
but I
like
think the
switched.
Lord, I think the Lord helped us to like kind of meet in the middle at that time of like compromising, you know. Mm-hmm. But anywho, to talk about...
I wanted to highlight a positive thing too, because I don't want it to all be negative. I think one of the things that we were strong in too was pushing through things. Like, there was a lot of things that the Lord wanted to grow us in, even in the ministry aspects. Like when we were traveling, just another time skip, we came across a ministry, and it was like really weird, and like there's...
Well, that's after. We should get into that after Tennessee.
Okay.
There was like during our Tennessee trip. Okay. So you could share about that part.
Yeah, back to the deliverance thing. So basically there was a season where there's different revelation on things that the Lord was changing in us as far as like beliefs go, like doctrine. And the reason why I think deliverance was highlighted too is because I thought I needed a lot of it big time. Like, I was going crazy. Remember that? Like, I constantly thought I needed deliverance. And so this connection that I'm making basically is, and we talked about it a little bit in the last episode, is how marriage reveals a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I think because it was the very beginning stages of our marriage and we were already having the enemy attack as big time.
It was literally 2 weeks in. Like 2 weeks after getting married, like there was such a strong attack when the whole like pre-marriage and like us courting, even though we didn't use that term, but essentially courting, like it was so blissful and peaceful. Mm-hmm. And then boom, 2 weeks in PA, there was like things coming at us.
So I think because the whole marriage thing opened this door to things of like I thought were gone, like things that I didn't struggle with anymore, like I was doing again, like I was angry again, I was battling lust again, I don't know if I was swearing again or not, but I could have been.
I don't think so.
There's just things that I know for fact that I didn't do anymore that were happening again. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I need deliverance. So the connection that I made, where is it? Did the deliverance revelation only come because of things marriage started to expose? Like, I think now that I look back, it might have not even been the fact that I needed deliverance of any sort. I think I was just trying to recognize all these things that were coming out.
The deeper stuff.
Like, marriage was exposing... How do I want to word it? Marriage was the light exposing things that were hidden when I was single. But, like, it exposed the things I was unaware of.
I think that's a common topic amongst being married, because I think a lot of us struggle with that. And I do think sometimes marriage does expose demons that are hidden, but then there's a lot of times it's just like the deeper work of us needing to be sanctified. Because I was in the same boat, you know, like I was in such a blissful time before marriage of like just generally feeling strong in a lot of areas and, almost prideful about it. And I was just like, oh, Lord, thank you for doing this in me and this in me and this in me. And like, I felt like I was in a strong place. But then like instantly marriage happens and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, there's all this stuff now I have to work through that I thought didn't even exist. It's like new things for me popped up that I didn't even, like, that I didn't see, if that makes sense. And so it's definitely like it's hard to face, I think, those things that come out of marriage. It's not fun, but it's necessary. And it's good, because that way they can die.
It's true. So where are we at now?
I think just the journey of being in Tennessee, I think that was a fun thing that we got to experience early in our marriage. That was, and I'm not, at that point, I was not super open to like, I was open to deliverance, but in the way that they were doing it and the way they were teaching it at that point, I was a little skeptical because I had experienced before Dylan, like a previous ministry, and like there were some things that I believe were like hyper spiritual. And so going into it, I was very cautious because, I didn't want to be deceived. That was a big thing on my heart at that time. Just walking through certain things I'd walked through previously. But I honestly did feel like it, like the whole conference, and I'm not huge on conferences, it really did bear witness with my spirit. And I'm not saying every single thing was correct, but it was good. It was fun. And I think we learned a lot. And just being around the people, like, I feel like they were all like open-hearted. And so, that was a good trip. But then what happened after that trip?
Yeah, more spiritual warfare.
Yeah, that was a good thing in a way of like,
the good thing that led to the bad thing, which will be a later episode.
Yeah, it's like while we were in Tennessee, there was this other ministry that I had known about for years. I had never met any of them, but they had this website and I would read some of their teachings and their testimonies, and it was just very centered around faith. And so this was kind of our first marriage deception. Like I had experienced things before marriage, and Dylan might have as well. I don't know. Like because I had been involved with like other ministry circles before the one we were at that we met. But as far as marriage, this was our first taste of that together. So we drive a couple hours to this like house with some people there. And it's like as soon as we get there, I'm telling you, this was like, and we're not going to say the name, but when I say we've never felt so off, or at least I've never felt so off in my entire life, that's this. Like it literally felt murderous, like in the spirit. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like we get there and we're like talking to the two guys. They were like elders. And it's just like all this nonsense was coming out of their mouth. Things that didn't even make sense.
I just felt so unsafe.
Yeah, like and that's not something we just like struggled
And I was
with.
supposed to lead. And I was trembling inside.
It was like petrified.
Yeah, I was petrified.
Of like the atmosphere. We didn't think they were actually going to hurt us, but it's like in the spirit, it literally was like a murderous spirit or something. Like, I don't even know. I'm not saying, obviously they haven't hurt anybody, but it's the spirit. It's the spiritual realm. Was not happy. We were there and we felt uncomfortable. We felt unsafe. We felt terrible. And we didn't even last the whole night. Like, we end up going to the fellowship, and you noticed something about the people there too, remember?
I don't know if maybe somebody else can even speak into this, and this might sound messed up, but this is kind of the vibe I got, and I don't like to use that word, but I'm going to use it. So the vibe I got when we went to this fellowship was there were so many like people with these infirmities or like things going on.
What's the word? It was like a lot of deformities, I think would probably be a better word.
It really stuck out to me for some reason. Not like in a judgmental way, but like something didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. Just, it felt very cultish. I guess that's one thing that comes to my mind. And then even like, there's just like a lot of angel worship too. Mm-hmm. Like there's a hyper angel thing going on.
It's like angels were talked about more than Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's just overall like a really weird experience. And we're not going to talk about this now, but come to find out, we were discerning correctly. There's some really weird stuff.
This is off in the mountains somewhere too, so it's not like we're in the city area. We're in like some random town in the mountains somewhere. Mm-hmm. And like it's just us. We're still newly married. We're still like we're not fully solid in the Lord. So like we're still learning and growing, and so it was really creepy.
It was, yeah, and it was really challenging because we're like, are we just being like, is this the enemy in our head? Are we being like over dramatic? Like, why are we feeling this way? Because we felt very unsafe. And like, I remember it being really hard for me because I'm like, wow, like we're discerning something. But I've known this ministry to be so solid and like so faithful. And I'm telling you crazy testimonies of teeth growing back and like just like crazy things like this. And so I was like, I was upset, but we knew we had to leave. Like we literally, and I feel like they were trying to stop us in a way. Do you remember?
Yeah,
We literally were like, yeah, we gotta go. We can't stay here. Like, we're gonna go somewhere else. And we didn't really tell them why at that point.
Yeah.
We just like, we're kind of like beating around the bush because we felt so uncomfortable. So we're like, we just gotta go. Or I don't even remember what we said.
I'll be honest, that's one thing I still struggle with, because even after that, like testimony after testimony, it's like a repeat. Like everything we walk through, it's that same thing.
And that's why.
Like where we got to get out of something and we're just never like, I mean, it's my fault. I beat around the bush sometimes and I don't say things how they are.
Yeah, and that's why the Lord's making it happen again.
Yeah, every time.
But yeah, so we end up leaving, and I'm telling you, as we're pulling, and they're like outside as we're trying to leave, and it was like dark out. It was nighttime because we could not go to bed. We were supposed to go to bed. We're like, nope, we're out. So we start driving away. Right. Literally, and that's what's happening as we're driving away. That's crazy.
If you hear that.
You might not pick it up, but we literally started pulling out, and as soon as we pull out, sirens are going off.
Like crazy.
Yeah, it was insane for minutes at a time. And then and we felt so like, ugh. And then like, I think maybe 10 minutes later, it stopped. And there was also lightning.
Well, yeah. I mean, people might think that's hyper spiritual, but I mean...
I'm telling you. In
the moment, you got like, I felt like, at least with the sirens, like, I believe that was like, okay, the Lord's like, get out of here now.
Yeah, it was, it just kept happening as soon as we were pulling out. But eventually, like 10 minutes down the road, I think, it stopped. The lightning stopped, and we were just like, we feel fine.
Yeah.
Like the weight was lifted. And so that was kind of our first taste together. And, you know, from there, there's other experiences with that. But we go back to PA if you want to share anything about that.
Yeah,
I don't think really anything happened.
So we went back to PA, and there's still little things that happen. We would connect with a person that we met at some church, and he had like a little fellowship thing going on. And then we just still did little things together, like went to coffee shops, and like we would try to pray for people and just enjoy our time together.
Your parents came to visit for a couple days.
Yeah, that was good because we got to introduce my parents to the people that we connected with at the church, and that was good because we got to pray with them. But I guess one of the next big things that happened was, I think it was shortly after we got back, the person that we were staying with had told us, hey, like, basically you guys got to leave soon, because I think they were booking the room we were in.
Well, they said something like, hey, what's your guys' plan? Like, you have until, I think we had like a month or two longer if we wanted to stay. It was something like that. Like, hey, what is your guys' plan? Like, we plan to, you could stay here longer, but, you know, in like a month or two, we are going to turn this into an Airbnb. But like, they weren't going to charge us a lot if we stayed. But honestly, we were prideful at that point. Like, I'm just going to be honest, because we're like, oh, like, I don't remember what we were thinking, but at that point we were thinking, you know, wherever we're going to be, we're not going to pay anything. So maybe it's our time to leave. It's kind of like our thought, especially you. You're like, oh, I don't have to pay to live anywhere.
I don't remember saying that.
No, you didn't say that, but that, I feel like that was kind of where our mind was at. We weren't mad at them at all.
No.
But I think we kind of thought that, you know, maybe it's not the Lord anymore because we shouldn't have to pay anything.
I just felt pressure, like, okay, like, now we got to figure out what's next. It's always that pressure of, like, where are we going next?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the next big mistake that we made.
Yeah, and so, again, like, we love this couple. We were not angry, and they know that. Dylan just, he felt pressured, and we're like, oh, is this not the Lord anymore then? And blah, blah, blah. And so literally the next day, Dylan's like, okay, we're going to go to the next place the next day.
Gabby
which, looking back,
it wasn't the Lord.
I don't believe that was the Lord at all.
I don't know what would have happened different, though, because nothing was really even happening where we were at.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that we rushed out of it. Like, it's hard to say. You know, we don't want to play the game of, like, what ifs.
Oh, we probably can't share this part. Never mind.
Oh, no, I want to know.
No, because
you have to tell me after.
It was a big reason of why we were going there. It was when we started having thoughts of like, I can't say it because I know you probably wouldn't want to talk about it on here.
Okay.
It was a big part of why we went to the next place afterwards.
I guess he'll tell me in secret afterwards.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, from here, we're just like, okay, well, where do we go? And we had already known that we were going to end up in North Carolina at this point. Because before we had gotten married, we were praying and we got North Carolina. And that just kept getting highlighted to us. But before going to North Carolina, we felt like we were supposed to go to New York to visit my family.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going to New York. And I don't think we were supposed to go to New York. Like I'm saying, I don't think we were supposed to leave PA and go to New York for this time. I don't know exactly if we were supposed to go to North Carolina or what. I don't know. But I just don't believe it was the Lord because we show up there, we stay with my family, and we were just getting attacked like never before. It's like you can go somewhere and people think you could go wherever, but I think there's times that literally when you're not in the grace of God, it's just so much worse. And it was just like a really, really hard time. And there was so much division between us.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
Like a thought that I had, I think yesterday or a few days ago, was like, this is just an example. Say you were staying in a place and God revealed to you that there was a curse there. I feel like God would be gracious to be like, okay, you're not affected in this moment because I'm warning you to leave. But don't you think if you stayed knowing that in your head, do you think God shouldn't do you think he would still protect you from it basically? You know what I mean? Like if we knew this place was cursed that we're sitting in right now, and like God told us to leave 2 days from now, and we didn't leave in those 2 days, are we not going to be affected in any way?
Oh, I definitely think so, because then it's like you're disobeying.
Yeah.
If God makes something clear. Yeah, we like arrived and I think we were there for like, 3 weeks or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't too long, and actually Xona came out. And I felt so bad for Xona. She came like 2 weeks later, and maybe I'm like skipping ahead. But even when she came, it was just like a mess. I'm like, Xona, you're seeing like the worst of us. Like, do you remember that? It's just like, we were arguing. I was like crying, and she thought I was kidding. And it was just like, the whole time was straight division between us.
I forgot about she even came.
Yeah, she did. Thank God she came, because I would have lost I probably would have lost my mind. There were, this is going to be very vulnerable, but this is just the truth.
But you're I feel bad. We're going against the podcast right now because you forget, like, maybe this will highlight what I was trying to say. I'm going against the podcast because I told you this podcast was real conversations. We're talking about the subjects that we never really talked about on our main channel. Do you forget the first night in New York of why we like really went there to begin with?
Yeah, I don't remember.
You don't remember your first conversation when we got there that night, and I was upstairs.
Oh yeah, well I'm not sharing what that is.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm definitely not sharing it. Basically, there was a hard conversation that myself and my mom had to have. She had told me for months that there was like something she had to tell me, but she wanted it to be like an in-person conversation. And the Lord actually showed me what it was about in PA. And I remember telling it to Dylan. I'm like, Dylan, like, she keeps saying like we need to see each other because she has something to tell me, and it's this. Like, I just really feel like this is it. And what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just be honest. I remember when we got married, I had
But don't say.
I'm gonna say it without saying it. Okay. But I had two people who told me something that I never even thought about. But then I started thinking about it, and so you thought that when I said it, right? Yeah, but I remember gently talking to you about it in Pennsylvania before we went to New York.
Yeah, because I remember mentioning it. I'm like, hey, I think this is what it is. And then you're like, I don't actually remember what you said. I think you were just kind of like, I don't know. I really don't remember what you said. It wasn't a bad conversation. I wasn't like mad. I was just like, I feel like this is what it is. And but I had no idea anyone else was thinking that. Like, I thought I was like, am I just like thinking the worst case scenario, or am I right?
But it is something that would be very hard for most people. On basically the point of the story is God like really helped soften the blow, I guess. Like ultimate peace, you know?
Yeah, it's like something I've noticed in my walk is the Lord will prepare me before I have to like face something hard. Yeah. It's like he'll like show it to me prior. And there's just so many moments of that happening, which is good because I don't think I take something, I guess he knows better. Like, maybe if I were to hear something really hard and I wasn't aware and it's a shocker, I think I would react a type of way of like out of anger or sadness. I don't know. The Lord knows, and that's why he does this. But he like showed it to me, and so I felt the urge even stronger and stronger that this is what it was. So the first night, the conversation just kind of happened. It's like I was like, I know there's something. Let's talk about it. And so yeah, that happened the first night, and it was fine. It's like the Lord just gave me a peace, and I wasn't sad or angry. I was just kind of like, well, it is what it is. And so that was good. And so I guess maybe the Lord sent us there for that conversation, but I don't know. I really don't know if we were ever supposed to go there or not.
Yeah,
but maybe, maybe we were supposed to have that conversation. And stay. But it was one of those things where I think sometimes the Lord could lead something and you overstay what you're supposed to do. Like, you do it longer.
We've definitely done that time and time again, too. Not just when we've visited New York, but other just seasons.
We've done that a lot.
Because the Lord will give you dates. He'll say, hey, like, this is when I want you to leave. And it's like, if you stay past that, it's disobedience. And or like, it can even be something good, and then same thing, like,
yeah, it could be anything, because then you're not in the grace of the Lord. And so actually, I'm gonna backtrack. It was good at first. That conversation was good, and then I had a conversation with somebody else in my family that was good, and then another person, and that was good. And I think that's where it was supposed to kind of end, but we were kind of, I don't know why, we were trying to stay out there longer to kind of explore what was happening. And so we stayed longer because of that. We thought, oh, maybe this is supposed to, I don't know how to say it without saying it, but we just felt like there was like a purpose. But really, I think we were supposed to just like get that over with and then like go and not prolong it.
It was a fear of,
I guess, missing out.
No, not a fear of missing out. I think, well, maybe for you, I think there's a fear of mine was a fear of confrontation. Like, sometimes we overstay because we don't want to disappoint, like, people. Oh,
yeah, that wasn't it for me. I was like, I thought there was like, ministry minded. I thought something was supposed to happen, like, with ministry with, like, a certain person. And I can't really say. But I just thought, I didn't want to miss out on an opportunity. That was very much my mindset when Dylan first met me. It was like, I always wanted to, like, be in the action and like be so involved with everything, and like I didn't want to miss any opportunities. I didn't want to miss on what was the Lord. I wanted to reach everybody, and it was just like crazed, and so that was it for me. I didn't have any fear of like telling my family, hey, we're leaving again, we're going to North Carolina. Like, we said that from the get-go. We made it very clear that this was just a visit and that we were going to North Carolina, and obviously they wanted us to stay. And
we did hear a date too, though, wanting to leave. Did we ever leave on that date, by the way?
It was like the day before Valentine's Day. So we got that. And that kind of kept us there, because we were like, okay, things aren't of peace, but this day's in our mind. Are we supposed to stay there? Because we're like new in our walk and newly married and learning how to like depend on one another, and like Dylan leading and all this stuff. But we're like, okay, we heard this date, and it kind of kept us there. It's like, were we supposed to stay because we heard a date? Did the date mean something else? Yeah. Were we just keeping ourselves trapped in something that we felt like wasn't the grace anymore? But thankfully, Xona was there with us from that, like, up until we left.
And we were like, thank God. That was a huge part,
Yeah, and she was there, but then it was also like, I felt bad because it was just like I said, so much division between Dylan and I. And obviously, Xona doesn't care. But yeah, just a lot of division and demonic attack. Like, we all
Sleep
felt
paralysis.
so.
I remember that.
Yeah, Dylan experienced that, and like we just felt like so vulnerable spiritually, and it was just a crazy. I don't know why it was such a crazy time.
It was beyond just like a feeling of like, when you're in a room and you can feel something off. Like, we were like
experiencing it.
Yeah, even at nighttime in the room, like just crazy demonic dreams. Like,
yeah,
I never had sleep paralysis. It was the first time I had sleep paralysis.
And do you literally remember, you're like, because of the news because of the thing that we had come to New York for, this is gonna be like the most vulnerable thing we're probably gonna say, but Dylan was like, he was getting so fearful, and in his head he's like, maybe I'm supposed to go to PA and you're supposed to stay here. Do you remember that?
I do.
It was such an attack of division, like the enemy trying to split us.
It goes beyond that. It's because
we weren't talking about divorce or separation. He just meant like, no. I think you're supposed to stay here for.
She's avoiding something. I didn't want to leave just because of like what's going on between us. There's a lot of tension with you and your family. Like it was a lot with family at the time, because like we're married and like family wants us around. My family lives in a whole nother state at the time, and
yeah,
like,
I think they were.
I was like, I don't want to be a part of this drama. I'll go to Pennsylvania, spend some time with my family. I don't want any part of this.
It's funny because in the moment he didn't voice it that way though. You said like, I think you're supposed to stay and.
Well, here's the thing. Before you continue, like there's times where I'm like filled with anger and stuff, but like I'm too nice. Like if somebody's nice to me, I'll respect the person. I'll be nice to them. But when I feel like somebody's like trying to control me, or like they're like twisting like words that God gave us and stuff like that, like it's hard for me to like be a man of God and like be like, no, this is what God said, this is what we're doing. And I'm still weak in that, to be honest. It's something that I haven't really grown in. So it's like that was something that I was really battling at the time, and I feel like it's a repeated cycle.
Yeah.
Almost.
And honestly, I didn't even know that at that point. Like I didn't know he was really struggling with that until later on, like months later, when another situation happened later on that we'll get into, I'm sure, in our next video. But I remember just thinking he thought there was an opportunity for me with the whole thing that had happened. And so he's like, oh, Gabby, I think you should like do this opportunity yourself, and I'll go hang out in Erie. And I was like, what? That is not happening. And he was like so serious about it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, heck no. I didn't want to be here without you. And it was just like a mess. It was just the enemy trying to get us in different places and get us off track to like the Lord sending us to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Whatever happens
I hope our stories aren't like this in the future, because we're going to talk about some harder things. I think for future podcasts, like for certain topics, we're definitely going to be straightforward and share some of these topics. Like there's topics of things like we'll go into as far as like deception that we've walked through. Yeah,
especially our next video.
We'll probably have like code names for like people involved, so like, you know, we'll probably use code names like, hey, this is Jerry, and like
this is Bob. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard when you have like stories with family, because you don't want to use their names or say anything too personal, but this is just the real life things that we walk through, and so that's something we got to figure out how to navigate that, I think.
Yeah, and like what's wise to share, because it's like there was a big part of what happened here, but I don't feel like I should share this publicly, of like why we came to New York. That's like not something, but it's hard to talk around that. You know, it was like a big. I mean, it was supposed to be a big change, but honestly, it really wasn't. Like, it didn't really affect anything in our life, which is good. But I think people in my family thought that it would really change things, but it just. Yeah. The Lord didn't change anything, which is good.
So in the next episode, we're going to be talking about our travels to North Carolina, which is a huge part, because if you watched our previous podcast, we actually talked about in our marriage testimony, we actually traveled through North Carolina. So that's kind of how it even started in the first place. And so like that was just. Yeah, we're basically going back to the place we
got engaged at. And neither of us really had any experience with North Carolina. I think both of us, that was our first time, was when we were engaged and we had to go through there. And it's because we got the word about North Carolina. And then we continued to get like words and peace about North Carolina when we were in PA, once we were married. And it just was like, this is the thing, like, it's like sometimes you just know that you know, and you don't have a million signs. You know, maybe there's just like one word about it. And so we were just going off our piece, and we knew like this is where we're supposed to go. And his parents were actually there, but that is not why we went. Like confidently, we really just went because we felt like that was where God was leading us. And we actually didn't even know what part of North Carolina at that point. You know, I remember people were asking us, like, where are you guys going to end up? We're like, we don't know. We're just going to go somewhere in North Carolina.
There's like 2 or 3 places in mind.
Yeah, we were debating between, like, which part of North Carolina. And so we literally, you know, after, like, this visit with our family, my family, we had gotten in the car and we just started driving there. And we're like, what part of North Carolina? But we felt so free. Do you remember the car ride was just so freeing after, peaceful. Like, so much, like, turmoil and, like, all these issues and division.
But the next episode will be interesting because we could start out, and hopefully I'll remember this in the clip. Did we make the right decision? That's what we'll start with in the next one.
Yeah. But I remember the car ride was just... the car ride
You're going into it.
No, I'm not. I'm going into the car ride.
Okay.
Or should I save that?
We'll just save it for the next one because
okay.
We're probably...
We're a little over.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode. It was probably all over the place.
Yeah, we're really bad at this, honestly.
Yeah. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.